Hello gamers! Welcome to the first ever episode of Ghibli-Craft. I've got a lot I want to do today, so we're diving right in. As I said in the series announcement video, I restarted my server right after the 1.21 update. Since then, though, I've mostly just focused on exploring and resource collecting because I knew I wasn't ready to record my builds yet. Of course, now this place is a total mess. And look at me, I'm literally living in a hole in the ground. And I never know where anything is anymore. What I'm looking for is here, copper, which I'm going to need for one of my very first builds. After nearly 3 months of mining though, and intentionally seeking it out, this is pretty much all I've managed to collect. So, to help speed things up, I've got my eyes on a nearby trial chamber, which I plan to completely demolish. I've got 2 reasons for this. First, I'm greedy, and I want to know how many copper blocks are in there. And second, I'm really interested to see how long it's going to take me. Let's head on over there. Now, a couple of us have already actually gone through this trial chamber. Since we've already gone through this one, I thought it would be perfect for my copper collection experiment. And yes, I did get permission from the rest of the server to do this. We might even make a few mob farms in here afterwards. But before I get started with the dismantling, I'm going to do a couple quick runs by myself and see how I fare. Let's go! Okay, enough fooling around. Let's get to work on this copper project. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. Breaking everything down took me approximately 12 hours. And that's not even including the time I needed to repair my tools. That is pure mining time. 12 hours. I think I'm still mentally recovering, so I'm not entirely sure it was worth it yet. But these chests are almost completely full of tuff and what I really wanted, copper. So what are the totals? I now have over 37,000 tuff bricks, over 4,000 smooth tuff, and over 2,000 chiseled tuff of the 2 different varieties. Now, the stuff that really matters to me is the copper. Waxed copper, I ended up with 3,738 blocks. The oxidized waxed copper, I ended up with 3,320 blocks. And additionally, I got several other copper bits, including stairs, cut copper, copper bulbs, and so forth. Obviously, it's great results if you want a lot of tough, but I'm not entirely sure just how far this copper is actually going to go. I guess we'll see. Still, I think it was a really good haul compared to just regular copper mining, especially because I don't have to worry about smelting any of it. Unfortunately, moving it is going to be a total pain. We haven't ventured to the end yet, so I don't have any shulker boxes. That might need to become a priority soon, because I also have to move all of my other resources. While I love my little mushroom island biome, especially early game because there's no hostile mob spawns, it doesn't really have the Ghibli-esque vibe that I'm going for. So for now, I'm going to leave all of this right here, and I'm going to show you where I'm actually setting up shop moving forward. It's a bit of a hike, and while there's nothing I can do about that for me, a little editing magic, and you'll be there in a flash. Voila! It took me a while to find this place, and although there's still some glaring issues with the location, I'm mostly satisfied with it. It's really rough now, but I plan to do a lot of terraforming. A few examples: we're going to fill in a lot of this water, build up those mountains over there, and pretty much completely dismantle this little village. Honestly, I'm probably going to be changing almost everything about this place, but this was the closest match to what I have in mind, within a reasonable distance from everybody else on the server. I'm actually kind of nervous. This is going to require significantly more landscaping than I have ever done before, but that's also kind of exciting. I'll just have to take it one step at a time, and hopefully it all comes together. Speaking of together, let's put something together. My original plan was to build my second starter house for this episode, but taking apart the trial chamber was a pretty significant time sink, so I'm going to go for something smaller now, and we'll do the house next episode. Current me is going to be a little busy collecting the materials I need, while future editing me will provide an explanation. I like to do a lot of farming, like big farming. What I have at my starter base right now on the Mushroom Island is really tame compared to what I usually do. I've tried both semi-automatic and manual farms. Not sure yet if I'll do any of the automatic stuff in the Ghibli-Craft series, but I'm definitely going to have some nice golden wheat fields in the area, especially because I'll need it for breeding cows and sheep, and I tend to use the seeds to make a lot of bone meal. One of my goals for this series, however, is to make all of my builds as functional as possible. Of course, I want them to look nice and be accurate to the Ghibli films, but I also plan to give them purpose within Minecraft. While it would be easy to just store all of my wheat in chests, that's pretty boring, and it doesn't add any character to the world that I want to create here. So I've thought of something a little more fun. The inspiration for this build is going to be Sophie's wagon ride in Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is one of my very favorite Studio Ghibli films ever. I love the story, and I think it's visually stunning. Not to mention that the book it's based on is just awesome. I'll put a link to it in the description because it's also one of my favorites, and Ghibli fans should absolutely read it. I particularly like the world building in the scene where Sophie hitches a ride out of the city with a local farmer. His wagon is massive, and as luck would have it, it's also full of hay, which will give me a good excuse to set up my own decent-sized farm nearby. Additionally, the side paneling is pretty reminiscent of the barrels in Minecraft, so I think it's going to make the perfect wheat storage system. You'll see what I mean after I build it. So, without further ado, let's jump into my first ever Ghibli-Craft build time-lapse. we're done. It's a pretty quick and easy build, but still really fitting for the theme, and I think quite functional for storage as well. Now, all we need are a couple horses. There! Perfect! They're even similar colors to the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe how close they were. I set out on that adventure expecting to be walking for a long time. Anyway, I know this build is pretty simple, but I do think it does a good job of capturing a specific moment in Howl's Moving Castle. And I'll be able to store all of my wheat in these easily accessible barrels for the rest of the series. I'm quite happy with it, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And with that, I think it's time to wrap this episode up. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference and means a lot to me personally. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.